When you picture two cavemen, you probably do not imagine them falling head over heels in love. You imagine grunting, dragging by the hair, and pure brute survival. We tend to think of romance, of butterflies and heartbreak and devotion, as something modern, something invented by poets and movies. But that is completely wrong. Love is not a modern invention at all. It is one of the oldest, deepest, most human experiences there has ever been, and it is written into our brains, our poetry, and even our ancient graves. So how did ancient people actually fall in love? First, let's get one thing perfectly straight. The actual feeling of falling in love is ancient. It is not culture, it is chemistry, hardwired into the human brain over hundreds of thousands of years. When you fall for someone, your brain floods with dopamine, the very same chemical behind excitement and obsession, and with oxytocin, the bonding chemical that ties parents to their babies and partners to each other. These systems are old, far older than any city or any language. So that dizzy, helpless, can't stop thinking about them feeling? A caveman felt the exact same thing 40,000 years ago. And we actually have proof that they felt it deeply. Archaeologists have uncovered ancient graves where two people were buried together, facing each other, wrapped up in an embrace. There are couples who have lain there holding each other for 5,000 or 6,000 years. One famous pair, often simply called the lovers, were buried locked together, their foreheads touching and their knees drawn up, as if frozen forever mid-embrace. Nobody buries two people like that by accident. Someone long ago looked at two people who loved each other and made sure that even in death, they would never be apart. But here is where it gets surprising. For most of human history, falling in love and getting married were two completely different things. Today, we simply assume you marry the person that you love. For thousands of years, that idea would have seemed strange, even reckless. Marriage was far too important to be left to a feeling as wild and as unreliable as love. So who you married and exactly why you married them was usually decided by something else entirely. In most ancient cultures, a marriage was a deal. It was about joining two families together, forming alliances, combining resources, and securing land, animals, or status. Parents and elders arranged who would marry whom, very often while the couple were still just children. It sounds cold to us, but to them it was simply practical and sensible. A marriage was a contract between two families, not a celebration of two hearts. The hope was that love and affection would slowly grow later, after the wedding rather than before it. And yet, real romance absolutely did exist. It just very often lived outside of all those arrangements. People still flirted, still pined, still chased after the ones they wanted. They gave little gifts, beads, flowers, and carved trinkets. They sang songs and they danced to catch an eye. And they wrote. Oh, how they wrote. The oldest known love poem in the entire world was carved into a clay tablet in Mesopotamia around 4,000 years ago. It is a passionate verse from a bride to her king, calling him her honey and her sweetheart. 4,000 years ago, someone was already writing soppy love poetry. Of course, before any of that, somebody first had to catch your eye. And what counted as beautiful changed wildly from place to place and from age to age. In some times and cultures, a fuller body was the absolute height of beauty, a clear sign of health and wealth. People decorated themselves to attract a partner, with paint, with tattoos, and with jewelry made from shells, bone, and bright polished stones. They braided their hair and dressed to impress. The desire to look attractive for someone you fancy is, it turns out, gloriously ancient. When a match was finally made, they celebrated, often for days on end. Ancient weddings were full of ritual, feasting, music, and symbols of two lives joining into one. And the ancient Romans gave us a tradition you might just recognize. They placed a ring on the fourth finger of the left hand because they believed that a special vein ran directly from that finger all the way to the heart. They actually called it the vein of love. So every single time you see a wedding ring today, you are looking at an idea that is well over 2,000 years old. Love and desire were so powerful that ancient people turned them into gods. The Greeks had Aphrodite and her mischievous little son Eros, firing his arrows to make people fall helplessly in love. The Mesopotamians had Ishtar, and the Egyptians had Hathor, their goddess of love, music, and joy. And when the gods themselves did not help, people simply took matters into their own hands. We have found real love spells, written onto papyrus and scratched into clay tablets. Desperate little magic charms begging the gods to make one certain person love them back. Some things about love truly never change, because along with all the joy came every bit of the pain that we know so well. The ancient world was completely full of heartbreak. Their poems and their letters absolutely drip with longing, with jealousy, and with the sheer agony of being apart from someone you adore. They wrote about sleepless nights and aching hearts, and lovers cruelly separated by distance or by death. Go and read a 3,000-year-old love poem, and you will find the very same feelings that you have felt yourself, the same desperate wish to be close to one specific person in a whole world full of people. And of course, there was forbidden love. When marriages were arranged and societies were rigidly divided by class and status, the heart simply did what the heart has always done. It wanted exactly what it could not have. There were secret lovers and stolen glances, affairs that crossed forbidden lines, and couples kept painfully apart by their families or by their rank. That timeless, tragic story of two people who love each other but are not allowed to be together is not some modern invention. It has been quietly playing out for as long as there have been people to feel it. And love did not only ever flow in the ways we might expect. In many ancient cultures, love and deep devotion between two men or between two women was openly acknowledged, written about in their poetry, and woven right into their myths and their daily lives. The poet Sappho wrote tender verses of love between women nearly 3,000 years ago, verses so beautiful that her very name and the name of her island gave us words we still use to this day. Love, it turns out, has always come in many different forms, but beyond all the passion and the drama, there was also the quiet, lasting kind of love, the kind that grows slowly over an entire lifetime. We find ancient tombstones where a husband or a wife carved one final message to their partner of 40 or 50 years, calling them beloved, praising their kindness, and openly mourning their loss. Even within those arranged marriages, deep and genuine love so very often took root and bloomed. Two people who started out as nothing more than a family arrangement could end up as utterly devoted companions who had built an entire life and a whole family together. So, how did ancient people fall in love? Exactly the same way that you do, with racing hearts and sweaty palms, with poetry and gifts and longing glances, with heartbreak and jealousy, and a devotion that could last an entire lifetime. They may have married for alliances and for survival, but they still felt that wild, helpless, beautiful thing that we call love, every bit as strongly as we do. So the next time you feel your own heart skip a beat for someone, just remember you are feeling one of the oldest human experiences of them all, the very same one that made two people, thousands of years ago, choose to be buried hand in hand. Like this video if you believe in love, and stay curious.